Here's what Trump voters are saying, so you know Fox got to kick into overdrive with that propaganda. Trump voters are saying, we've been massively rug pulled. If it benefits him, Trump, he's for it. He doesn't care how it affects others. Trump is not the same Trump of 2016. Sad. We got played hard. They are some very advanced deceivers, Trump and Elon. Yes, I regret that I voted for Trump. Did we get effing swindled? I mean, could it be any more obvious? Then all the MAGAs hate MAGA Mike Johnson right now. They call him Democrats' little bitch. Fired. You have all of that taking place. You've got posts like this from MAGA supporters. What the F is going on here? This is not what we voted for. This is Donald Trump supporting all of Elon Musk's proposals, which seem to cut against all of Donald Trump's messaging during the campaign. Ex-Trump supporter here. Now is the time we must block the certification of Trump. Well, all of that's going on too. You've got like Trump's Secretary of Defense pick, Pete Hegseth. All these videos are emerging of the guy. I mean, you see this one of him. I mean, the guy's just like dripping sweat when he would give these speeches based on his history. Here, play this clip right here. You also got protests. I did a whole other video about this. Mass protests in Panama over Donald Trump saying he wants to conquer it. All right, so Fox has to kick into overdrive. So what do they do? Number one, they go after me. They go after me, and they go after the interview I did with President Biden. So they show the interview I did with President Biden, which is 30 minutes, and President Biden was great in it. I tell you, if over the next few days, if you have some free time and you haven't seen it, it's a 30-minute interview. President Biden goes through his legacy, his regrets. He goes through all of the, I asked him some tough questions too. I mean, I pushed him on things. How was it that you did all these things for workers, but they ended up voting for the other guy? Listen to what Biden says. Although now we're seeing those voters go, wait a minute, we've been hoodwinked. We should have voted for Biden. We wish Biden didn't leave the race. So first Fox, they attack me. Look at the chyron here. And it's a it's a photo of me from my interview. And you see on top, MeidasTouch YouTube. That's from the interview I did with President Biden in the Roosevelt Room. And it goes, as Biden exits in disgrace, what are his regrets? Do you notice that framing? As Biden exits in disgrace. Let's talk about disgrace for a second. Well, more Americans had access to health care than at any time. The stock market under Biden hit record highs. Unemployment was at record lows. Job growth was at record highs, over 16.2 million jobs created under President Biden, over 40,000 infrastructure projects. He appointed some incredible judges to the federal judiciary. In addition to the infrastructure, the over 40,000 infrastructure projects going up across the country, from airports to bridges to roads to rail, and all of that. He strengthened unions more than any time before. He strengthened historical black colleges and universities more than anybody ever did before him. The PACT Act, providing life-saving health care to veterans. A lot of veterans ended up voting for Trump against their own health care and against their own interests. President Biden allowed Medicare to negotiate directly with drug suppliers, reducing the costs for Medicare recipients of a number of drugs. And then kicking in 2025, there'll be a cap on the prescription drug costs for Medicare patients of $2,000 as a result of President Biden's policies. The PACT Act for veterans, the CHIPS Act, Infrastructure Act, Inflation Reduction Act, American Recovery Act, getting us out of COVID, making vaccines available, which MAGA Republicans, attack, and bringing normalcy to the United States of America. So that's one of the ways Fox goes in on their attack. What else do they need to do? All right. We got to distract, right? Our viewers are freaking out. They hate Trump now. They're pissed at Trump. This Elon Musk thing and Vivek Ramaswamy, this Doge thing has massively backfired. People realize this is a big rug pull. All right, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? All right, let's call in Kevin O'Leary. Let's bring in this guy. Let's bring in the Shark Tank guy who literally keeps cardboard cutouts of himself in his room. I mean, look at this photo right here of O'Leary. It's like he's wears these like ridiculous pants. It's all a game to these rich guys, right? Like to these rich guys, it's all a game. Almost cursed there. It's all a game to these guys. Like it's one big prank on us. Oh, you gotcha. So they call in O'Leary, and then it's like, all right, let's go get Kayleigh McEnany, who, like they literally have the people who work for Trump or worked for Trump as their host. Let's call in Trump's former press secretary who hosts our show now. I mean, this Fox propaganda is, I watch the propaganda in Russia on their state TV to report to you what happens. Julia Davis from the Daily Beast, she does a great job covering that also. And I read a lot of the stuff that she does too on that. This American Fox propaganda is like way worse. It's like not way worse, but it's at the level, let's just say, of Putin. So this is Kayleigh McEnany. They need their distraction. So what do? Could the American flag be adding another star? Canada. Will we be conquering Canada? This is real what they're running now. And they're doing this also because they want us to keep our eye off the ball that we, the people, including Trump voters, have now figured out, finally, that Trump's an oligarch and he's helping the oligarchy, and Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and all these people are just helping rich dudes. That's all they're doing. Here, let me show you what they're playing on Fox. This is absolutely ridiculous. Let's play it.
Could the American flag be adding another star in 2025? Well, Trump's idea of making Canada great again by turning it into the 51st state is gaining some serious traction, especially from Canadian citizens. 33-year-old Ryan Hemsley told the Free Press that in Canada, quote, "You wake up and survive," he said. "There's no opportunity for growth. As much as I love Canada, becoming the 51st state of the United States would rejuvenate me." And he's not the only Canadian who's open to this idea. Joining me now is Kevin O'Leary, chairman of O'Leary Ventures. Kevin. So
then Kevin O'Leary joins the show, and Kevin O'Leary's Canadian. But he's whatever. Kevin O'Leary then goes on and he's like, no, I think this is a real idea. As a Canadian, I would love to be annexed by the United States of America. I mean, this guy will do or say literally anything for moolah. Here, play this clip.
Born in, Toronto or in Calgary and Montreal, wants to keep that. But combining our countries together with a common currency, a viable passporting system after you're approved, as they have in EU, we'd be the most powerful nation on earth. What do the Canadians got? Unlimited water, unlimited power, unlimited paper, unlimited reserves of every kind. There's only 40 million of them, side of California. And they don't want to squabble. They want to trade north, south, east, west. So the ideas are simple. Common currency, common defense of the North against the Chinese. I'm not a fan of the Chinese government. Everybody knows that. And I worry about that, and everybody should. And the Russians, too. We don't need them messing around up north. We could make that very, very clear to them. And what country on earth would mess with a combined economic entity? You don't have to give up your citizenship. You don't have to give up your sovereignty either way if you're American or Canadian under this idea. But let's get the kernel of economic interest together, figure out what these attributes are, and I bet you more than 70% of the Canadians would want to do it. They just don't want to give up their birthright, nor does an American. But I know many Americans like to live in BC or to go skiing in Quebec or whatever it is. Make it easy, and no tariffs, no craziness, freedom of trade. I'm loving this idea, and I'm not the only guy. Now, luckily, I'm here and I work on both sides of the border. You well know that. But here's the thing. We have no government in Ottawa right now. As you know, Trudeau's on his way out for the next 5 months. We're a void. I'm going to Mar-a-Lago. All we're going to do is talk ideas. We're just two guys talking ideas. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's what Fox does to try to distract. But I want you to think about how dumb this makes us look internationally and how we can be so played for doing this. Like Russian TV, they're just running around the clock. American imperialists, we're trying to conquer you. They're trying to conquer you. So Russia can get a foothold into people who should be our allies, like Panama and Mexico and these other countries. But this is the hypothetical I've given on the MeidasTouch podcast I do with my brothers. But think about this hypothetical for one moment, right? What would happen if President Xi Jinping of China started posting on his official social media accounts that he wanted to take over Japan? And then let's say he posted a meme of the Chinese flag in a building in Tokyo. And then he made a post talking about how he wants the leaders in Japan to be members of the CCP, and he looks forward to them joining the CCP. Would people be going, oh, that's just President Xi the troll, that's Xi Jinping, you know, he just does these trolls on social media? No, you would be preparing for an imminent invasion of Japan, right? By China. Now, when Trump does it, I think it should be taken seriously. Think about the national trauma that countries have of being invaded, taken over with rape, looting, pillaging, death, destruction, Holocaust, devastation that comes with war. So nations have trauma attendant with World War I, World War II, and their various wars being invaded. So using this language of invasion and conquest the way Trump does is not something to do lightly, and it should be taken very seriously. But then when he doesn't do it, think about then how weak and pathetic it is. It's just cartoonish, no offense to clowns, clownish behavior. That is the opposite of power. So you want to go back, Fox, and you want to try to mock the interview I did with President Biden? You want to know what real power was? When I was in that Roosevelt room with President Biden, the Roosevelt room is named after Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Teddy Roosevelt, two great American presidents. And Teddy Roosevelt said, you walk soft and you carry a big stick. You don't need to be loud and obnoxious and whatever. You act diplomatic and courteous and with dignity. And then when you exercise power, and you have to do it, you do it audaciously and ruthlessly and surgically at the right time. You don't just go and act like a crazy maniac. That's not what real power is. It's not what power is at all. Power needs to be controlled, contained, defensive. You go on the offense only at certain times, the right times. Trump is the small stick, the micro stick, the teeny tiny micro stick policy. That's what, just loud and obnoxious, and then he doesn't back it up. And it makes everybody look dumb in the United States of America. That's what we're seeing. So Fox, you can try to distract with your shows and oh, is Canada going to be the 51st state? Is Canada going to be the whatever? We know you're trying to take away our health care. We know you're trying to take away our Medicare. We know you're trying to take away our Social Security. We know that all of you in your mansions and your caviar-laden billionaire dinners on your 1,000-foot yachts and super yachts with your helicopters and your Gulfstream 6 and your Bombardier jets, we know you're laughing at us. We know that you're laughing at we the people. We are onto your freaking hustle. So you want us to get mad at the transgender volleyball player in San Jose State? You want us to get angry at 10 transgender athletes in the NCAA when there's 550,000 NCAA athletes? You want us to focus our attention on that versus you looting and pillaging and destroying the people while further enriching and entrenching billionaires and oligarchs like Elon Musk? We're not going to take it. We're wise to your hustle, and that's all you're doing is hustling we the people so that your hosts and your ownership and your shareholders are protectors of the oligarchy, and you go and make your millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars a year, whatever. We're on to you. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.